7 that summer, standing in line with my mother, looking up at the ferris wheel, certain it was taller than anything I'd ever seen. The seats moved slowly, one after another, people rising into the sky, then disappearing again behind the lights. I almost changed my mind. Seat number 12, paint chipped on the door, metal warm from the sun, my legs swinging nervously as the wheels started turning. My mother smiled beside me. The city dropped lower with every rotation. Cars became tiny, people became dots, and the noise faded away. That part surprised me. Seat number 12, climbing higher still, the whole town beneath us, like somebody folded it small and placed it in my hands. Then we reached the top. I grabbed her hand tighter, not because I was falling, not because the seat moved, just because everything looked different from up there. The houses looked harmless, the streets looked simple, even the places I worried about seemed smaller somehow. My mother noticed seat number 12, hanging above the world, my hand inside hers, and the wind pushing softly against the side of the carriage. That's when she said it. The things you're afraid of look smaller from up here. Then she looked back at the town like she wasn't talking about heights at all. I didn't understand her yet at 7. You think advice is about the moment, not the years waiting ahead. So I just nodded and kept looking down. Seat number 12, the river crossing town, the school near the park, the road stretching outward toward places I didn't know yet. Everything felt possible when the wheels started descending. I remember feeling disappointed, not relieved, disappointed. I wanted one more turn, one more minute above everything, one more look at the world from that height. But the ride kept moving. That's how rides work. That's how years work too. Seat number 12, still somewhere inside me, turning quietly through memory. Long after the carnival left town, long after childhood moved on. A few years ago, I found that ferris wheel again. Different city, different lights, different paint, but the feeling returned immediately. I stood there watching families climbing aboard, kids holding their parents' hands, the wheel carrying people upward, one slow rotation at a time. And suddenly I heard her voice again. The things you're afraid of look smaller from up here. Now I finally understand. Not because life got easier, Not because fear disappeared, but because distance changes things, the way height changes a city. Seat number 12 still rising somewhere above old worries, above old versions of myself, above problems that once looked enormous. And every now and then, when life feels too close, I remember that ride and try to see it from a little higher up. I was 24 that autumn at a traveling carnival. More noise than I wanted, more people than I knew, and nowhere I really needed to be. The lights blurred together, music leaking from every direction, children running between rides in the ferris wheel, turning slowly above it all. That's when I saw you. One more turn, standing 30 feet away beside somebody new, laughing at something I couldn't hear. You look different, not older exactly, just farther away. The kind of distance that doesn't show up on maps, the kind people create, one ordinary day at a time, without noticing. One more turn, the ferris wheel moving overhead, cars rise and cars fall in the same way years seem to. I almost walked over, not because I wanted you back, not because I had something left to say. Honestly, I just wasn't prepared to see you there. After all that time, you looked happy enough, I looked busy enough, and neither of us had a reason to interrupt the lives we'd built, so we didn't. One more turn, yellow lights in the darkness, people stepping on, people stepping off, nobody's staying forever. I think that's why I kept watching it. You noticed me eventually, not immediately. Just one of those moments when your eyes move through a crowd and suddenly stop for a second. Everything felt very quiet. The carnival's still loud, the ride's still running, the speakers still playing music. But between us, quiet. One more turn, neither of us moving, neither of us waving, neither of us pretending we hadn't recognized each other. Then somebody said something to you, and the moment passed, just like that. I stood near the food trucks a while, holding a drink I forgot to finish, watching the ferris wheel rotate again and again, like it had all night. Funny thing is, I don't remember what you wore, I don't remember who you were with, I don't even remember what song was playing. I remember the ferris wheel, one more turn, still glowing in memory, still carrying strangers upward, while two people stood below, thinking about different versions of themselves. Maybe that's what hurt, not losing you, not seeing you again, just realizing how much time quietly happened. Without asking permission, the bride kept moving, the crowd kept shifting. You disappeared eventually into lights, into conversations, into whatever came next. And I never followed one more turn, the wheel above the carnival turning through another night, like it understood something. The rest of us were still learning. Some people return, some people don't. Some stories restart, some stories simply become part of the scenery. And standing there at 24, watching that wheel spin, I finally understood the difference. I'm 36 now, and some nights from the shoreline I can still see the ferris wheel across the water, turning slowly against the dark. The lights look smaller these days, red, blue, white, reflecting on the bay, like they always have. I don't feel pulled toward it anymore. Lights below, turning through the distance, while the waves move quietly between where I am and where I used to be. When I was younger, I always wanted to get closer, closer to people, closer to answers, closer to whatever looked bright from far away. Most of us do. The ferris wheel still turns, carrying strangers upward, giving somebody their first kiss, giving somebody their first fear, giving somebody a memory they'll keep without knowing it. Lights below, spinning near the shoreline, like a small piece of another life still happening without me. And that's okay now. A long time ago, I thought happiness meant participation, being there, being involved, being invited into the story. Now sometimes watching is enough. The wind comes off the water, cooler after midnight. The beach empties slowly, and the ferris wheel keeps moving without changing its rhythm. I admire that. Lights below, steady as ever, not asking me to return, not asking me to remember, not asking anything at all, just existing. A few years back, I probably would've walked over there, bought a ticket, ridden to the top, tried to recreate something. That's the mistake sometimes. Getting too close to things that were beautiful from afar. Not everything improves when you touch it again. Some memories live better at a distance. Lights below, across the bay, across the years, across versions of myself I hardly recognize anymore. The strange thing is, I don't feel sad watching it. Not nostalgic exactly, not lonely, just grateful. Grateful that some things survive long enough for you to see them differently. The waves roll in and pull away again, the same way they always have, the same way they always will, and the wheel keeps turning. Lights below, floating in the darkness, small enough now to fit inside a single glance from the edge of the shore. I sit there another hour, listening to water, watching reflections break apart and come back together again. Thinking about nothing urgent, thinking about how peaceful it feels to stop chasing every light and simply watch it glow from where you